more powerful and miraculous than the things that affect you and make you dance like a puppet. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Be silent for the most part. Or if you speak, say only what is necessary in a few words. Love not what you want to love and what you have. Mingle a little folly with your wisdom. A little nonsense now and then. 'Tis pleasant. We are just statistics born to consume resources. Religion is regarded by the common people as true, by the wisest false, and by rulers as useful. A gift consists not in what is done or given, but at the intention of the giver or doer. We learn not in school, but in life. Happiness belongs to the self-sufficient. You can't chase after money. You need to go towards them. For 2 years, a person learns to speak. And then for the rest of his life, he learns to be silent. No one can give you better advice than yourself. Good and evil cannot be treated the same way. Love is the attempt to form a friendship, inspired by beauty. It would be less madness to carry firewood into the forest. You may drive out nature with a pitchfork, yet she still will hurry back. Mix a little foolishness with your serious plans. It is lovely to be silly at the right moment. Life is long, if you know how to use it. Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart. There is no genius without a touch of madness. All cruelty springs from weakness. It is a rough RD that leads to the heights of greatness. Do every act of your life, as though would worth the very last act of your life. To wish to be well is a part of becoming well. But life is very short and anxious for those who forget the past, neglect the present and fear the future. While we wait for life, life passes. Above the cloud with its shadow is the star with its light. Above all things, reverence themselves. A fool is known by his and a wise man, by silence. Wisdom thoroughly learned will never be forgotten. Death smiles at us all week. All we can do is smile back. Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. Take full account of what excellencies you possess. And in gratitude, remember how you would anchor after them, if you had. You had them not. Ability without honor is useless. To teach is the necessity to please his sweetness. To persuade is a victory. Even those philosophers who wrote treatises against fame did not forget to put their name in the title of their book. Virtue, dear friend, needs no defense. The surest guard is innocent. None knew till Gil created fear. What darts or poisoned arrows were. Fool makes a fortune of those. It favors too much. You procure the noblest building materials when only a pick and a spade are needed. And you build a house 500 feet long and 100 feet wide, forgetting a dwelling, 6 feet. To wish to be well is a part of becoming well. But life is very short and anxious for those who forget the past. Neglect the present and fear the future. While we wait for life, life passes. Whatever can happen at any time can happen today. Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Because the thing seems difficult for you. Do not think it impossible for anyone to accomplish. Remember when life's path is steep to keep your mind even. Adversity has the effect of eliciting talents, which in prosperous circumstances, would have lain dormant. The man who mingles the useful with the sweet Gary is the day by charming his reader. And at the same time, instructing him. Freedom is secured not by the fulfilling of men's desires, but the removal of desire. Circumstances don't make the man. They only reveal him to himself. It is not death that a man should fear. But he should fear never beginning to live. It does not matter how many books you have, but how good the books are. It is difficult to bring people to goodness with lessons. But it is easy to do so by example. It is a tough RD that leads to the heights of greatness. Wisdom is the only thing which can banish sorrow from the breast. It is a great thing to know your vices. Thrift is an important source of wealth. What we read with pleasure. We read again with pleasure. People don't like when you repeat it twice. Count your birthdays with gratitude. Nature herself has imprinted on the minds of all the ideas of God. It is the peculiar quality of a fool to perceive the faults of others and to forget his own. He only employs his passion, who can make no use of his reason. The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. Humans have come into being for the sake of each other. So either teach them or learn to bear them. They can ruin your life only if it ruins your character. Otherwise, it cannot harm you inside or out. Happiness should be asked from God. Wisdom should be acquired by yourself. What then is freedom? The power to live as one wishes. Stupidity tends to see other people's vices and forget about their own. Don't even dare trust a wife that says you're always right. In old age, we all regret not having killed laziness in ourselves. Do not marry after 40, because marriage is not provided by nature. Admonition instead of hate. Smile instead of contempt. He who has injured thee was either stronger or weaker than thee, if weaker. If weaker, spare him; if stronger, spare thyself. It is more civilized to make fun of life than to bewail it. Whatever can happen at any time can happen today. Mothers are fonder than fathers of their children, because they are more certain they are their own. Nothing destroys a person as much as a prolonged inaction. Don't trust a wife who lets herself not trust you. We need to eat and drink enough so that our strength is restored and not suppressed. A mental state can neither be blotted out by the passage of time, nor washed away by any waters. To be content with what we possess is the greatest and most secure of riches. The most beautiful of all creations is a educated person. A smart person fights passion, but a fool becomes its slave. Anyone who can make you angry becomes in peace. As a wise man, he should make suitable preparation for war. How slight and insignificant is the thing which casts down or restores a mind greedy for praise. Clawed with yesterday's excess, the body drags the mind down with it. Never forgive a friend who betrayed you once. He will betray you again. Drunkenness does not give rise to vices. It reveals them. The part of life we really live is small. For rest of existence is not life, but merely time. To win true freedom, you must be a slave to philosophy. Of this one thing, make sure against your dying day that your faults die before you do. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Mastery of reading and writing requires a master. Still more so life. Life is very short and anxious for those who forget the past, neglect the present and fear the future. A man must stand erect, not be kept erect by others. We live only now. Everything else, either past or is unknown. No man can escape his destiny. The next inquiry being how he may best live the time that he has to live. If you have a garden and a library, you have everything you need. True law is right reason in agreement with nature. It is of universal application, unchanging and everlasting. It summons to duty by its commands and averts from wrongdoing by its prohibitions. Be, rather than seen, he who laughs at himself never. Things to laugh at. Nature have given men one tongue, but two ears. We may hear from others twice as much as we speak. Leave off asking what tomorrow will bring. And whatever day's fortune will give them. Count them as profit. Think to yourself, then every day is your last hour. The hour to which you do not look forward will come as a welcome surprise. Don't try to cover your mistakes with false words. Rather, correct your mistakes with examination. Sobriety is the strength of the soul. For it preserves its reason unclouded by passion. Concerns should drive us into action and not into depression. There is no enjoying the possession of anything valuable, unless one has someone to share it with. To be always fortunate and to pass through life with the soul that has never known sorrow is to be ignorant of one half of nature. The best ideas are common property. Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. Your days are numbered. Use them to throw open the windows of your soul to the sun. If you do. If you do not, the sun will soon set, and you with it. The best revenge is to be unlike him, who performed the injury. It's not a pity that a person was born or died, that he lost his money at home all his property does not belong to him, but it's a pity if a person loses his true property or his dignity. Friendship improves happiness and abates misery by doubling our joys and dividing our grief. The one to whom the service is rendered should remember about it, and the one who rendered it should not remember about it. In fears and danger, we are more inclined to believe in miracles. Pale death with impartial tread beats at the poor man's cottage door and at the palaces of kings. If there is nothing pleasant without love and fun, live in love and fun. In a miserable situation, don't forget to defend the stability of the soul. The wise are instructed by reason, average minds by experience. The stupid by necessity and the brute by instinct. The face is a picture of the mind with the eyes as its interpreter. A mind without instruction can no more bear fruit than can a field. However fertile, without cultivation, the great science of living happily is to live only in the present. If you can become an eagle, do not strive to become the first among the jackdaws. A person who was captured by his passions cannot be free. Sometimes even to live is an act of courage. It's not that we have little time, but more that we waste a good deal of it. Whatever happens at all happens as it should. You will find this true if you watch narrowly. To be everywhere is to be nowhere. No man is crushed by misfortune, unless he has first been to seed by prosperity. You are lonely, not because no one needs you, but because you care about who is next to you. Our life is what our thoughts make it. How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? He who fears death will never do anything worthy of a man who was alive. A room without books is like a body without a soul. Knowledge, which is divorced from justice, may be called cunning rather than wisdom. Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parents of all others. If you cannot have a faithful friend, be your own friend. Drunkenness is an exercise in madness. The seeds of murder in pain will not reap joy and love. We live only now. Everything else is either past or is unknown. Progress is not achieved by luck or accident, but by working on yourself daily. And banquets, remember that you entertain two guests, body and soul. And whatever you shall have given to the body, you soon eject. But you shall have given to the soul you keep. You keep always. The main feature of weak people is the fear of saying what you think is right. It is quality rather than quantity that matters. Everyone prefers belief to the exercise of judgment. Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. As is a tale so is life, not how long it is, but how good it is what matters. Life, if well lived, is long enough. It is reason and wisdom which take away cares, not places affording wide views over the sea. This is a fault common to singers, that among their friends, they were never inclined to sing when they were asked, honest. They never desist. Neither stick to tradition, or see that your inventions are consistent. No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or fig. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. No man can escape his destiny. The next inquiry being how he may best live the time that he has to live. The love you give in life keeps people alive beyond their time. Anyone who was given love will always live on in another's heart. Not being greedy is already wealthy. Not being wasteful is income. History is the witness that testifies to the passing of time. It illumines reality, vitalizes memory, provides guidance in daily life, and brings us tidings of antiquities. It is courage, courage, courage that raises the blood of life to crimson splendor. Live bravely and present a brave front to adversity. Live as brave men. And if fortune is adverse, front its blows with brave hearts. Wisdom is the principle and source of beautiful writing. For books are more than books. They are the life, the very heart and core of ages past. The reason why men worked and died. The essence and quintessence of their lives. The greatest virtue of a speaker is not only to say what is necessary, but also not to say what is not necessary. I read. Read at every weight. Read at all hours. Read within leisure. Read in times of labor. Read as one goes in. Read as one goes out. The task of the educated mind is simply put, read to lead. Should be the voice of reason. And the judge should be the voice of the law. No person has the power to have everything they want. But it is in their power not to want what they don't have to. And to cheerfully put to good use what they do have. If what you have seems insufficient to you then, and though you possess the world, you will yet be miserable. He is the most powerful who has power over himself. Gold is tested by fire, women. By gold, and man by women and suffering. If we could be satisfied with anything, we should have been satisfied long ago. What really ruins our character is the fact that none of us looks back over his life. When a person spends all his time in foreign travel, he ends by having many acquaintances, but no friends. The best answer to anger is silence, agreed. But nature set a limit on that, as it did. As it did on eating and drinking. Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. He who has injured thee was either stronger or weaker than thee. If weaker, spare him; if stronger, spare thyself. If fate does not give you something, it means that it protects you from something. There are no snares more dangerous than those which lurk under the guise of duty or the name of a relationship. Natural ability without education more often raised a man to glory in virtue, than education without natural ability. The whole future lies in uncertainty. Live immediately. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. But life is very short and anxious for those who forget the past. Neglect the present and fear the future. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. To wish to be well is a part of becoming well. Receive without conceit. Release without struggle. The more honest men are, the less he suspects others of dishonesty. A low soul always presupposes the lowest motives for noble deeds. To be ignorant of what occurred before you were born. As to always remain a child, for what is the worth of human life? Unless it is woven into the life of our ancestors by the records of history, it is not by muscle speed or physical dexterity that great things are achieved by. But by reflection, force of character and judgment. We suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them. It is our attitude toward events, not events themselves, which we can control. Nothing is by its own nature calamitous; even death is terrible only if we fear it. If evil be said of thee, and if it be true, correct thyself. If it is a lie, laugh at it. Attach yourself to what is spiritually superior, regardless of what other people think or do. Hold to your true aspirations, no matter what is going on around you. Confine yourself to the present. No man is free who is not a master of himself. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself and your way of thinking. If you live in harmony with nature, you will never be poor. If you live according to what others think, you will never be rich. Learn to be indifferent to what makes no difference. The greatest blessings of mankind are within us and within our reach. Why? Wise man is content with his lot, whatever it may be, without wishing for what he has not. Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems. Small-minded people blame others. Average people blame themselves. The why see all blame as foolishness. Respect the past, be open to the future. The life we receive is not short, but we make it so. We are not ill provided, but use what we have wastefully. Stay calm and serene regardless. It is foolish to tear one's hair and grieve, as though sorrow would be made less by baldness. Most full speeches are the first sign of weakness. And those who are capable of great things keep their mouth shut. The life of the dead is set in the memory of the living. Do not spoil what you have. By desiring what you have not, remember that what you now have was once among the things you only. He who is not satisfied with a little